Ready, you're on record.
Announcement is made that adequate notice of this meeting has been given and that is being conducted in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6, et sec. Of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Nora, please call the roll.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Here.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Here.
Mr. Mozzarella.
Here.
Mr. Parikh.
Here.
Mr. Reddy.
Present.
And Chairman Ira Kane.
Present.
We also have our board planner, Mr. Chadwick.
Present.
Our board engineer, Mr. Holloway, and our board attorney, Mr. King.
Present.
Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's what used to be. It was there years ago.
At this point in this evening's meeting, is there any member of the public that has any business to be brought to this board that is not on this evening's agenda? Hear none, see none. Any correspondence, Nora?
No.
We have some resolutions.
Yes.
Let's move them in the group to do.
I
You got-
grouped them for you.
got,
There's three groups.
Group 1, we want to move those, Mr. Berkowitz?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the resolutions for applications 22:71 and 22:64.
So moved.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Reddy.
Yes.
Ira Kane.
Yes. And now we have Group 2. Mr. Jaskowitz, would you like to read those?
Sure, I move for the adoption of application, 22:73 and application 22:11.
Second ready?
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mozzarella.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Reddy.
Yes.
Ira Kane.
Yes. And group number 3,
I move the adoption of application 23:04, 23:07, 2282, and 2283.
Second, Berkowitz.
any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Reddy.
Yes.
Willing. Ira Kane.
Yes. Okay, that takes us through all the resolutions. And I guess we're ready to go into the agenda. First application is 2275 Gavin and Valerie Spector. This is a C variance to construct two-story single-family. I know we've heard a lot of testimony on this,
And they've already been sworn, Mr. Chairman.
and how did we leave this?
There's supposed to be a negotiation or discussion with the neighbor
Oh, okay.
with regard to shadow.
Yeah.
And I believe the applicant submitted shadow drawings. We have them tonight.
Should have them.
Yes.
With the new materials.
So tell us what has transpired.
Just for the record, just state your name. You're the architect. You've been sworn. You understand. You're still qualified. So just for the record, can you state and spell your name?
Ron Howell.
Okay, so, what,
So we have reached the point of
It's on. If you press it, you're gonna mute it or shut it off. Make sure it's green, the light.
okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. We have been through a number of meetings and phone calls and such with Mr. Castle, the neighbor. Mr. Castle, we've, I think, provided him, I hope, everything that he has asked for to date. Whether or not he has reached the point of being comfortable with this or not, we're frankly not sure. We're sort of getting to the point we're running out of anything else that we can do to try and meet him halfway. I'm sure he will make his own point in a moment since he's here tonight. Some of the things that we have gone through, I think it perhaps might be of some help to discuss, because over the period of time that this has been going on, we've had a number of items come up with him, and each time we've met, he's sort of added a couple more. So we're a little bit at a loss to know how much further we can go with this, and I think it's getting to the point where you find people are really going to have to look at this and take a view as to what you think is fair and reasonable. If I can touch on some of the items, the first thing that Mr. Castle was concerned about was that his view from his two windows in his living room and also from the three windows from the bedroom in his upper level were going to be blocked by our new home here. He also was very concerned about the fact that the sun would be blocked from those windows, and that is what actually drove us to put together the sun studies. As you'll see in the drawings you have, we did studies to show the sun at the height, which is in June 21st, in summer, and showed that there was no shadows whatsoever thrown onto his home. In winter, the height of winter, in December, late in the afternoon, we showed another study at 4 in the afternoon, where, of course, we are west of him, and as such, in the winter afternoon, by 4 o'clock, he's starting to get some shadows on the lower windows, but as you can see the drawings there, and I hope they're pretty straightforward. You can see what the situation is. He was also concerned about the fact that there is an area behind his home. He's got a very small backyard, as obviously all the lots in Mount Tabor. And he said this is an area that he sits out on in pleasant weather with his friends, and he was concerned that he would lose the sunlight in that area at the back of his home. Again, the sun studies showed that this is definitely not the case, certainly in summer, but even in winter, there wasn't even any shadow thrown there. As far as the view is concerned, he's concerned about the height of our new home, and we've gone to sort of quite great lengths to try and we moved the house as far back as we possibly could in order to give him the view past the front of us. We're 3 feet from the, or 3'6", I think, from the rear boundary. We couldn't go any further because there are trees back there, and we did not want to lose those trees if we could avoid it. But that's as far as we could go. We also moved as far west as we could go. We're only 3 feet from the boundary on the western side, which is the downhill side. There is now from our eastern wall 11 feet from the wall to the boundary. There is 6 feet from his boundary, or the common boundary between us, to his wall. So there's actually 17 feet between us and his house, or between the to be us and his house. We could not get any further down to open up his vista, as it were. We've looked at that as long and hard. We're also, by virtue certainly of the fact that we're on the downhill side of him, he can certainly get views from his bedroom windows that he was concerned about, and certainly the the view straight from the window directly at 90 degrees. He looks into the side of us, but these lots being the size they are, we can't do very much about that one. He was concerned about the roof pitch. The roof pitch we have is 45 degrees or 12-12. The roof pitch on his home is actually 10-12. The difference is 40 degrees on his home, 45 degrees on ours. I defy anybody to pick up 5 degrees between a roof pitch, but it is what it is. He made the point to me that if because we have a large, reasonably large great room on the second floor, because this is the lifestyle that Val and Gavin want. And in order to make that spacious, we went with a vaulted ceiling. He said that if we put a flat ceiling in there, we could lower the pitch of the roof so that he could see past it better. He also, if we weren't willing to do that, which we're not happy to do, he suggested that we could put even a barn-style roof on the house in order to lower it to some further degree. Again, we would like to stay with the 45 degrees we have, because we've shown there that from the sun studies that we really are not impinging on him very much at all. And even the views, quite frankly, most of them are okay. You can see past us. Having gone through all that and what we tried to accommodate him by moving as far back as we could, the next item he brought up was the fact that he felt because we, I quote, were so far back on the lot, because we were trying to get back to open it up for him, we're now so far back on the lot that we no longer conform with what he believes is the character of the street, because we should be right up at the front line, the same as here. Most of the houses there, as you're probably aware, are on the front boundary. We have set back. Now, when I say set back, if you look at the 2-story portion of the house, that is, again, 17 feet from the front boundary. We have a single-story section at the front of the house design, which is 6 feet deep. We have a veranda in front of that, which is 4'6". In truth, we're only 6'6" now from that front boundary to the face of the post of the veranda, if you will. So we're hardly a long way out of line. And quite frankly, having said that, to me, and now I'm looking at the aesthetic of not only the house, but the whole area, if you're driving down, going down the hill, down a heading place, the fact that this is really the last home on the street. There is a small portion of the rear yard or the side yard for the house next door. But as you go down the street, the fact that we are slightly back from the street tends to open up that vista as you get to the street at the bottom, which to me, quite frankly, makes perfect sense, and I think is something that helps, not hinders. Why we are necessary, or considered necessary to conform with a line down the street, frankly, I don't quite understand, but okay. I'm just checking the notes. I had a number of things here that we went over with him during the course of all of this. He's very concerned also about the fact that we have 3 garage doors. Now, these garage doors, as you don't know if you can pick up at all on the drawings, but they actually are set back under the veranda. So There's somewhat in shadow underneath the house to some degree, but nothing is anywhere too far from anything, obviously, in Tabor. But he considers that it is out of character with the street, again, us having 3 garage doors. He has one, and I haven't counted all of the others, but he feels that's not in character with the style or the character of the street. He also questioned whether we were going to produce a design here that is in keeping with the general style of North Tabor in a Victorian style. And I assured him, yes, that is definitely the intent. It is not shown so much on the drawings because, quite frankly, these drawings have not been developed. These drawings are massing and blocking studies at this point. We are trying to find out what we can design and what we can get permission for before we put in all the time and effort to start detailing all of these little things. Obviously, when you're getting into Victorian design, there's a lot more work to be done on, for want of another name, dressing up the Victoriana. So that's pretty much, I think, all I have as far as the points that he has raised. I
Can I,
like to make a comment.
For the style of the house, one of the things that we included, the page that has the 4 pictures on it, and the one in the corner is like a rendered computer picture. That is of the plan. It printed a little dark, so it would be a little bit brighter, but, you know, I put the gingerbread on there, and the color of the house, all that stuff. So that's hopefully what it'll...
so you have jumped through quite a number of hoops to get to this point.
Correct.
And I'm guessing you've had a degree of discussions with the neighbor. And I'm going to ask you a very pointed question. You think you're ever going to satisfy him? Or does he just keep throwing
It seems
landmines
that every
in front of
time
you
we-
to just keep delaying this? Because that's the feeling I'm getting.
It's a
Because
feeling.
I've been doing this for 34 years, and I've never seen a situation like this where a neighbor just keeps coming back with more, never. So I'm just concerned.
Well, it-
That's not what's happening, and I don't want to be
Excuse me, you'll have your turn. You'll have your turn, okay? You'll have your turn.
My apologies, sir.
You may continue.
there's something that I think I would like to say about this, if I may, because it bothers me, frankly. Unfortunately, and I feel his pain, Mr. Castle has a real issue. He has 2 vehicles. He has 1 garage, 1 vehicle in the garage. The other one he's got in the photograph that you, I think, may still have, which shows the front of their house. You can see where his SUV is parked sort of half on the street, half in the front of the door into the garage. That's hardly a very practical or, you know, acceptable situation. Absolutely understand that. His issue is really, he has a strip of land on his west, namely against the common boundary with us, that is 6 feet wide. It's obviously not enough to park a vehicle in. He did approach us at the very, very outset of all of this and asked if inspectors would be good enough to give him 2 feet, because we have a fairly reasonable setback on that side.
But you only have 2,700 square feet in a, what's the zone, 15,000 square feet?
That's right.
That's an unreasonable request, a terribly
And,
unreasonable
well,
request.
The point, and I understand his issue, and I feel his pain, but what he was looking for is 2 feet, which gives him 8 feet, is enough to get, he was going, I think he intended paving that, using it as either somewhere he can
Well,
drive
I don't
around
think you
back.
can, if he's right on the property line, you can't pave right up to the property line without a variance.
Well, he was looking to see if he could get an easement of 2 feet from the Spectres. That solves his headache, and I understand that, and I'm not knocking that. But I've been at this game for a long, long time. It's not my first rodeo. And I've seen many situations where people start really pushing things because they have an agenda. And I can't quite get past it in my own mind. I'm not, this is me personally, that if he could get that 2 feet, he's got his problem solved. And the only way perhaps is keep at it and keep at it until we give up in sheer frustration and say, you've got your 2 feet, get on with it, sort of thing. But that's my feeling, and I sort of feel that we're being coerced with all of these things that keep coming up and up and up to try and see if he can resolve his headache. But again, my thought, not Spectres, not anything else, it's just, I've been there before, and anyway, I won't say any more on that point.
Any questions by the board? No? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given to you? Test questions? I hear none. Come on up.
How are you, sir? I can only ask questions at this time.
That's
You're gonna
right.
hear from me later. Can you please explain to me when I asked for an easement from the Spectres?
You mentioned this very, very early on in the piece when we first talked.
So I'm a lawyer and I deal with fact and I deal with opinion. When did I ever ask the Spectres for an easement? Because I never did.
This was brought up and they confirmed it to me as well.
Did I ask them for an easement during these proceedings?
That is what I recall.
Okay. Sir, I'll have an opportunity to respond later, but wasn't it the case that I raised 4 specific issues with you? One, I had a problem with the 3-car garage. It wasn't within the character of the community, that's one. Wasn't also that the setback eviscerated the view from my backyard and it wasn't in alignment with the community. Wasn't also that the height of the second floor great room reached the height of a 3rd story for a home, and 4 wasn't the lot coverage. Those are the 4 things. Weren't those the 4 things that I discussed with
Coverage
you?
is part of Mount Tabor.
That neither answered nor addressed my question. My question was, did I not lay out quite specifically that the issues and concerns that we had were the 3-car garage not being within the character of the community, the setback not being within the character or plan of the block, the height of the second floor, or the great room with the vaulted ceiling being too high, and that the lot coverage was a concern. There were,
The lot coverage?
the lot, yes, the lot coverage.
I don't recall that because the lot coverage is part of the overall. And
Okay.
We don't compare that in any shape or form.
Okay. Did I?
You're never gonna conform with the lot
You
coverage.
can't.
That's gonna be a variance if you put a
Right.
large shed on their property.
Right.
I'm being facetious, but.
The reason I asked the question, sir, is because I'm being grossly misrepresented and mischaracterized, but the plan that's before you is no different than the plan that was submitted to you. I met with the gentleman.
Wait, what's the question?
The question that still hasn't been answered is, didn't I meet with you
Yes.
and address these 4 issues?
Yes.
Okay, so everything else that you said that I kept throwing in front of you is a fabrication, because these are the 4 things. In the last call that we had, and forgive me, sir, I'm sorry, and I know you've had some hardship, which is why, even when I met with the Spectres, we still hadn't been presented with your plan. But nothing here is any different. Did I not ask you when we spoke, does this meet any of the concerns that we had? I asked you that question, right? That's a yes or no question?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And wasn't your answer to me, it does not address
Excuse
the
me,
concerns?
this is not cross-examining.
This
This is for questions.
I'm sorry, Mr.
question.
King. I'm asking him the question because he misrepresented what we said.
We don't know that. You can testify later on and tell us that.
I will do that.
But I think you're in the wrong part of the meeting at this point.
I, just asking.
Because I think they're pretty much ready to finish the application, am I correct? What's your other question?
Well,
You're not gonna ask the same question again, are you?
I'm not gonna, I can see that you're annoyed with me, and I'm not exactly sure why, sir.
It's not being annoyed, it's
I'm not-
when you go to court, if you do trial work, a judge will tell you to move on, you've made your point.
I understand that, sir. Again, I'm unfamiliar with your proceedings. So,
They're
those are the only
like the
questions I wanted to
judges,
ask.
they're judging the application, they essentially have judicial obligations, so they.
I
they look
understand.
at the facts.
I get very upset when people keep beating a dead horse and trying to get the applicant to say something in opposition to what he had said prior. So if you have any new questions, ask them, because I'd like to move this along. We've got a very busy
Sure,
agenda
sir.
tonight, okay?
Sir, are there any other 3-car garages in the community?
There are 4-car garages in the community, as well as very large 2-car garages in the community within Mount Tabor. And you have several pictures in your packets.
Does that answer your question?
It actually didn't answer my question, because I asked the gentleman before, there's an old Tabor and there's a new Tabor, the historical section.
These are in the historical section. They are not in New Tabor.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Any other questions? No?
Wait for mine.
Thank you. I would like to hear from one of you regarding the comments that your architect has made and the counter over here. Who's telling the truth?
So the very first meeting that we had, where we went to Jason Castle's house and looked at the property and all that stuff, that was, do you remember when that was?
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Probably March.
Yeah.
Probably March.
It was a 3-hour meeting,
Yes.
and I remember hearing the word easement.
Okay.
I did hear the word easement. I have brought it up.
I was not part of this meeting. I was at work that day, but when I came home, he was telling me about it, and that was specifically brought up.
Do you have any other testimony or any other witnesses?
No. The one picture that I submitted this time with the 4 pictures on it,
Yes.
I do have the addresses for the upper left, the 4-car detached garage, if you want that, and I have the address for the 6-spot lot, if you want those. Yes. So the 4-car garage that is block 35, lot 10, next to Dickerson 5, and the picture next to that just has the 6 spots, that is block 70, lot 1, 36 Morris Ave, both in Old Tabor.
The picture on that sheet, the lower left-hand corner, that's Mr. Castle's house?
Yes.
And the picture in the lower right-hand corner is a concept of your new home?
Yes. Like I said, it printed a little dark, so the colors would be a little bit brighter, but that's the idea.
So you feel like what you're presenting right now is what you want to build? And you think you've made a significant amount of concessions to the neighbor, and you want to go with what you have? Okay?
We have put a lot of time and effort into planning this very carefully, so we have enough room for ourselves and still don't piss off the neighbors.
Thank you.
And the plan was adjusted slightly from the very first time. We lowered the whole house 6 inches down to try to, block less and everything like that. And that was about as much as we could push it down into the ground before the driveway starts getting
Right.
messed up.
Go ahead, Vernon.
Excuse me. Just to clarify for me again, the Castle residence is what, south of your house or north of your house?
Yeah, east and uphill. So
Okay,
they're here,
all right,
and then
then,
here, and then.
all right, then what's west of your house?
A neighbor's backyard. So there's not a house there. It's backyard to the street.
Their house is technically on the next street over.
What, they front on 2 streets? Your neighbor?
They're like a bottom lot where there's 2 streets coming down and they're in between.
Have they had any objections?
No, I've met with him and he said, oh, it's gonna be a nice house.
All right.
It's gonna be a big purple house, huh?
Purple House.
This is purple?
So, Chairman, could I just say one thing?
All right, that's why.
Yes.
Okay, so when Mr. Castle was bringing up his 4 points, I understand that you're raising these issues with your neighbors, because I think the chairman does a good job in trying to get the 2 parties to come together to come up with a solution that we don't have to decide something. But sometimes we are going to have to decide it. One party is not gonna be as happy as they want, so you brought up, for instance, that you brought up an issue with them with height, but we don't have a height variance involved. So if there's no height variance involved, that's one issue that we don't really entertain. So you might not be pleased, you have the right to say, I think whatever, it might block this, it might block that. But when we're discussing and coming up with our solution, that might not enter into it at all. So I just wanted to point that out.
Same thing with the lot size too, because there's significantly that the whole area is a hardship, you know.
Yep. That's all I have for you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions by the board? Any other members of the public have any questions? And you guys you feel like your testimony is complete? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to go into conference?
Well,
No,
he's got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. And are there any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application? Please come forward. Thank you.
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give before the board is true self you got?
Yes.
For the record, can you state and spell your name and give your address?
Jason Castle, Jason, last name Castle, 10 West Heading is spelled Gdding.
Thank you, you're sworn.
Give him the microphone. You can sit down if you want.
Need 3 chairs.
You have to forgive me only because I'm going to try not to be frustrated, because what I heard was a gross misrepresentation of all that's happened. There have been no concessions. There were 0 concessions. I addressed 4 issues or concerns specifically with the architect. My wife met with Valerie. The 4 of us went to dinner. The gentleman's plans were not prepared by the time that we actually met, so we couldn't discuss them. But I vehemently disagree with the representation that was made that I've put landmines in front of you when I've done no such thing. We're not supportive of the board granting the application with regard to the current applicants for specific reasons. 1, the 3-car garage. 2, the setback. Those are the concerns that are before you. We did have a concern about the height. We know that that's not an application that was before you, but that was something that was spoken to the architect about. The home is designed is inconsistent with the plan and character of Mount Tabor. The character of the block that is Mount Heading, and the historical nature of the community. Not to mention that the property proposed completely dwarfs the previous property that existed on the space before it burned down. As to the representation of the gentleman, when he said he feels my pain because of how I have to park, we actually have 2 parking spots that are provided by the CMA in Mount Tabor. They have 2 parking places with in excess of 125 spaces that are made available, because the character of the community is such that if you have more than 1 vehicle, you can be assigned a parking space, which is what everyone in the community does. As it relates to the setback of the home completely eviscerates any backyard that would exist for the home, and actually destroys the view that if you're looking down the top of the block, from the top of the block down, it cuts off the entirety of the view of the mountains because of, again, the height of the great room, and the fact that it eliminates a backyard. So the setback is not in the character of the community. It's not in the character of the block. And if you were to simply look down the street to see how all of the homes are in line with one another, it would be obvious that it is not within the character or the plan of the community. Lastly, and I just want to make sure that we're very clear on this, we did not request an easement from the Spectors. Specifically, there is a retaining wall that is dilapidated and collapsing that is on their property. It is close to our property. And what we asked was whether or not they were going to rebuild that retaining wall, because when we dig down on our property to create a walkway to our backyard, a walkway with permeable pavers, that we were concerned that in digging down, there was going to be an issue with their collapsing retaining wall, and it was not their plan to repair it. So I don't want to be mischaracterized, and I don't want to be misquoted, and I don't want to be misrepresented. But as Gavin has said, he heard something about it, the word easement. No easement was ever requested. We have 2 parking spots. We actually have 3 vehicles, which is why we have 2 parking spots. And there's on-street parking up the block. So I don't want the gentleman's assertions to be taken as fact when we had no discussion about those things. And if those are assumptions, those assumptions are incorrect. So those are our concerns, and that's my testimony, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Any questions of this witness on testimony given?
Yeah, I have a couple we've been here a number of times, obviously, and you guys are looking for your dream home, and they're looking to keep their neighborhood looking the same, and of course, some of the amenities they have with looking out their windows. So last time we were here, the conversation was you guys were going to get together, go over some of the issues, and try to come to an agreement. So if I'm hearing straight, nothing has changed, or what has changed from that last meeting? I guess I'll ask you guys first, and then, I'll ask him. I'm not sure which direction I can ask first, or
You're asking
Okay, I'll ask you, did
the
anything
neighbor.
change from the plan we saw last time?
No, sir, nothing changed from the plan that was previously presented. There's not a single change. And the representation that the Spectors and the architect made accommodations for requests we made is a complete fabrication. There was no accommodation that was made because we sought no accommodation. The only thing that we expressed was our concern with the home being outside the character of the community. And we also expressed those concerns because those concerns were raised by the neighbor across the street and the neighbors up the block who were actually here during the first hearing. There's been no change.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? The architect explained that he pushed the building back.
He did not push the building back for us.
We pushed that back at the very beginning.
They pushed the
So
building.
the plan we saw originally was already relocated.
We went back as far as we
Okay.
could.
I misunderstood you. I thought you had done something different
Yeah,
in this course of time now.
It was explained to us that the reason for the setback was to accommodate the 3-car garage. That the home in its infancy stage of planning, which we had no idea about, was pushed all the way back to accommodate a 3-car garage. There
Is
was
that
no
true?
request.
Is that true?
Both are true. Namely, that eases getting into the garage, no question, and I don't dispute that at all. But also, we wanted to stay as far away as we could, 17 feet from his wall to ours, and as far back as we could to sort of open it up. So that was part of the initial design thinking in any of that.
Can I,
The other point,
that,
if I may, the front wall of our 2-story section is 17 feet from the boundary, from the front boundary. And what he says is absolutely correct in that regard, except for the fact we have a single-story section, which is the entry foyer and the bedroom on the other side, which projects forward 6 feet from that wall, plus the veranda in front of that again, which is 4'6", to the outer face of the post on the veranda. That in now, in fact, is only 6'6" from the front boundary. To say, we're way back,
is, well, exaggerating a bit. We're 6'6". The face of the veranda, the posts, the edge of the roof, single-story roof at that point. So we're at the height of a tall man from the boundary. We're hardly pushed all the way back.
I do have one more follow-up to that. So if they didn't set it back as far, and it was closer to the street as the character of the neighborhood, how would that affect your view then? I mean, I think it would be worse than what it would be now. Just my opinion, I'm just asking you.
Yes, sir. So that's a gross exaggeration of what our concern was. And what we said to the architect was that if you measure the setback from the block to the front of every home on that side of the street, it's about 6 or 7 feet. Their setback is far beyond that, and we would be more inclined to be okay with the application if the setback was in line with the street and if it didn't have a 3-car garage. There was no consideration of us when they made their plan, and to represent that they made a concession because we had made the request, I'm sorry, but that's
You were not aware of the fact that we had already taken that into account in doing what we did.
The gentleman is correct. I was not aware, but I also wasn't aware of the plans that are before the board today because those plans were never provided to us.
Did you say that the front of the building is 6 feet from the property line?
Veranda.
Front of the veranda?
What is the veranda?
The porch on the front of the house.
It's the building.
Yeah.
It's the building.
Right.
So you've got 3 feet in the back, is that correct?
3'6".
And you've got 6 feet in front,
6'6".
6'6" in front.
That's not accurate, sir. When the gentleman came out, he actually laid out and put a stone in the middle of the driveway and said, this is 17 feet back. So I don't know the representation he's making right now, and I'm not an architect. But what I do know is that over the course of the 3-hour meeting, that was really 30 minutes with myself while you were outside taping things off, you put a stone in the center of the driveway, you said it's 17 feet back. That 17 feet back was not only behind our porch and behind the front door, you said this is where the corner of the veranda is going to start. And that, I'm sorry, sir, what you're saying of it being 6.5 feet is a gross misrepresentation of what it was that you planned and what you said to us.
You have stated that the plan has not changed.
You've made no concessions.
Can I interrupt a sec? We've got a survey that shows this house, the same place since we started this meeting. And it's 6'6" to the front of the front porch.
Correct.
Wherever you put this stone, none of us were there to make any difference. That's what the
That
plan
stone was
requires.
in the corner of the 2-story section of the house,
Yeah, let's,
not the very edge of the veranda. The veranda wasn't.
we're going no place with this stone.
You have any other comments?
Those are my only
Any other
comments.
questions of this witness? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application? In support of this application?
Can I ask Mr. Castle something?
You gotta get a little quicker on the draw. Come on, go ahead.
Your concerns with the way the house is gonna look, the 3-car garage and the setback being uneven as compared to others, did you bring that concern to the board in Mount Tabor at all? Or discuss it with them?
It has been the topic of conversation at the board. I brought it to the CMA, but the CMA said that they don't actually have jurisdiction to make any determinations because the history of the community is that it was started as a religious community and the separation of church and state was long resolved, so they can't actually impose anything. They said that this is the appropriate form for that to be adjudicated.
Haven't had the board of Mount Tabor come here and object to other houses?
Well, they can object to something.
Yeah.
They can object, they can come and object. I don't
They've
see
been
that.
Are they here tonight?
They've said
They've been here.
They've been here as objectors.
Yeah, but are they here tonight?
No,
Is
you had-
anybody else?
At the first meeting, sir, you had members of the historical committee who were here objecting to the application and questioning why there was a 3-car garage, the questioning of the height and questioning the setback. That was at the first meeting that I attended. And Since then, the board has, given direction to the inspectors, but I can tell you that all of the folks on my block who are my current neighbors now, they weren't asked questions about whether they had concerns with the home. They were not.
He didn't need to.
They got,
If he noticed them,
anybody within 200 feet got noticed.
everybody
Yeah,
got
that's
noticed. They
correct.
had the right to come here to this
I
meeting.
understand that,
I don't
That's
see
how
what,
you get-
I don't, that is not a requirement of this board, that he goes to every house
I
on the
didn't say it
block
was, sir.
and get their thumbprint on the thing saying that they're in
Mr.
favor.
Irakane, you're absolutely right.
So-
The question was posed to the board, did you speak to your neighbors? And the representation that was made was that, yes, we spoke to our neighbors, and no one had an issue with it. And I'm telling you that that was not accurate.
Well, once again, we have you're diametrically opposed, and it's gonna come down to the point where we're gonna have to believe one of you.
And there is a clear evidence that there is a 4-car garage in the neighborhood.
Again, I asked the architect, I said, can you just show me where in the community there are 3-car garages of this design? And again, what you have in front of you was never presented to me.
Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Well, wait. First of all, you have every right to come to Nora's office and review all the plans. We don't have to specifically
I'm not
stick
saying
it
that,
in
sir.
So if you haven't done your due diligence,
It's not that I haven't done my due diligence. sir.
well, you have, because you're making statements about things that were done or weren't done.
No, sir. What I asked the architect, is there another home that has an attached 3-car garage? I actually offered to walk around the community with the architect on the apparent 3-hour meeting that we apparently had. And I don't know what's in front of you, but the picture that I just saw, the gentleman just held up with a 4-car garage, I don't know where that is, but I can tell you that if you go up up Heading, the north part of Heading is only garages. That's all that it is. It's garages and parking spaces.
Well, this looks like it's next to a house.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak? I hear none, and see none. Conference?
Okay.
Sure.
Moved by
I move
Mr.
we go to
Jaskowitz.
conference.
Yep.
Okay, moved by Mr. Berkowitz, second by Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Somebody want to start?
Sure.
Dave, are you?
I'm gonna abstain, because I
Yeah,
missed
because you came in late. This is just a C variance, right?
Yes.
I'll go first if you want me
Oh,
to.
please.
Okay.
You have a list of the variances he's got.
I hear where you're coming from. I appreciate it. You could be right in your feelings, and we're gonna just make our decision on our interpretation. When I see this house, I do think it goes in the neighborhood. It sounds like they've made some attempts. I'm not basing my decision on what the architect said when it came to discussions between the two of you. Because that's a he said, she said, I wasn't there. And to be honest with you, I could see it both ways. A smart person like yourself could go into that conversation, never ask for something, but imply something, and still come and say, I never asked for it. Or you could have never brought it up. I don't know. So I'm not basing it on that. To me, I look at the house, I think it goes, I don't think they're being overly aggressive in asking for anything that doesn't make sense to me. I think it's their property, they're building a house that kind of fits the style. It's not ostentatiously big, it's not super aggressive, so on those basis, I will be voting for it.
Mr. Reddy?
Yeah, similar consideration with my colleague here, and the 4 points you brought up, the setback is within the limits, agreeable. Height, there is no variance required for the height, there's nothing. Lot size in the whole neighborhood, there are similar houses. That is the location of this town, that where a lot of things are. So, specifically 3-car garage to accommodate the beautiful house, and there is evidence shown today by the applicant that there is a 4-car garage existing there. So I have nothing to do with that, but I'm in favor of this.
Thank you. Down this end, Mr. Mazzarella?
Yeah, I guess my hangup was the number of meetings we had and the conversations that were supposed to be had about maybe some concessions. Obviously, that's nothing to do with the variances. And while I think it's a beautiful house, of course, I guess, just like I said, going through back and forth with you guys being neighbors, and talking about some of Mr. Castle's issues and some opportunities, the concessions were or were not made. Again, based on the variances, I'll be voting yes. I just think that, I don't see where any concessions were made, and I think Mr. Castle, I understand where you're coming from.
You're leaning yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Sorry. Mr. Parikh?
Yeah, so when I saw the application in the beginning, it looked like there are a lot of variances requested, but at the same time, this is in Mount Tabor, a very
Tabor.
small lot.
Mount Tabor.
So, I didn't expect anything less than this as far as variances are concerned for that small lot. Even the impervious coverage and the building coverage, I was concerned, but then same reason, it's a small lot in Mount Tabor. Only complaint I have is that nothing has changed. The neighbor came here a few times, talked about his concerns, and the application is basically the same as it was right in the beginning. Now, what I heard is you already had made some changes when you came here, and but those changes were not due to neighbors' concern. It's just, I don't know the reason why you did it, but still, after looking at everything else and the variances, and I'm looking at more for the variances and how the house looks and whether it matches the community of Mount Tabor and everything, I'm okay with it, and I'll vote yes.
Mr. Berkowitz?
I would say I'm in favor of the application. And as far as the three-car garages go, considering the parking situation in Mount Tabor, I would think the neighbors would be very happy that there's a three-car garage, and so there's less cars for them to have to fight over spaces for. And as far as the setback of the house, I don't think it's that onerous that it should affect the overall look of Mount Tabor. Anything else, I think the variances, the only ones that concern me are really the coverage. So I would hope that they would provide whatever groundwater problems that the town engineer would see. I don't have the letter in front of me.
There was a letter, I believe they agreed to conform and comply with it.
And based on all that, I would say, I'll be a yes vote.
Well, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. I've heard dozens and dozens of Mount Tabor cases, and some of them fly right through, and some of them are like this, and they're not easy. And I think we all have to make concessions when people have 20% of the lot that they are supposed to have in this zone. We're dealing with an application in a R3 zone, which is 15,000 square feet. You're never going to be able to accomplish on your lot what you could accomplish in 15,000 square feet.
Chairman, could I just add one thing quickly? I just hope that whatever we decide, you guys could get where you're on a good page, you're gonna be neighbors, and that you both articulated your cases fairly well, and that, so be it, and that we could have two happy neighbors.
Motion to come out of conference?
So move, Berkowitz.
All right. Do I have a motion to instruct the attorney to draft a resolution?
So moved.
Which includes the engineer's report?
February 16th, 2023.
Okay, and anything else? Everything's up. John, you're okay with everything? Yep. Okay. All right, who did that motion?
I did.
Second.
Second ready, and any discussion? Nora, call the roll?
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mozzarella,
Yes.
Parikh,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Hurricane.
Yes. We're authorizing him to draft a resolution of granting. Okay? Hopefully, we will have that at our next meeting, you think? Okay? And once that is read into the record, like we did tonight, then you're free to proceed with your, whatever else you need to do. Okay?
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck.
Nora, just for the record, can you record me as an abstention?
Okay.
Good, good.
We are now at case 2301, Aaron Gonzalez, variance to construct an addition. Mr. Gonzalez is here.
So raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give before the board is true self to God. And for the record, you're the owner of the subject property. For the record, you're the owner of the subject property.
I am the general contractor.
So do you have consent of the owner to make this application?
He's
Thank
not
you.
going to testify? Okay. Why don't you proceed?
Okay, first I would like to hand out an exhibit.
Okay?
Yes.
Pass them up. There's a few extras, I'll keep one for me, okay? Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for hearing my application this evening. We are requesting, we too have a small lot in Lake Hiawatha. And we are doing let them go through and.
Now, this was not made part of the application, so
No, I,
you want to mark it A1, correct?
Correct. This would be Exhibit A1. Did everybody get a copy?
Not yet.
We're working on it.
Let's wait till it gets there.
Got it. Okay, yes, we got it. Let's just talk real quick about what variances you're looking for.
All righty.
You're looking for, a front yard deck, 25 is allowed, 18 is proposed, side yard, 6 allowed, 5 proposed, driveway setback, 5 allowed, 0 proposed. Yards and courts open deck, 24 allowed, you're requesting 29.31, building coverage, 20 is allowed, you're requesting 25.4, pervious coverage, 40 is allowed, you're proposing 43.22. You may proceed.
Correct. Okay, if we will, what I've done here is I've shown the, existing survey, right? So what you're looking at, where it says the asphalt driveway, that's existing driveway. Okay, so that was already, it was already there, that was what was on the 0. If you see where I say extend the driveway, that meets the setback. Okay, this is a corner lot, just so everybody knows. Corner of Minnehaha and Winona in Lake Hiawatha.
The driveway that you're proposing, the extension is
Correct.
almost in compliance.
Correct. That is
The
correct.
existing driveway is not conforming.
That is correct.
And the coverage, basic hardscape, building, driveway, what have you, you allowed 40% and you're 3.22% over. That's it. That's it.
That's correct.
Okay. And the expansion of the house is to do what?
Okay, the plan for the house, if you can see, this house was a bit of an L shape. So we're just going to add a one-car garage to that empty corner that's there. So, that gives some secure off-street parking for the new.
That's it?
And on the rear there, you see where the outdoor wooden deck? There's already an existing concrete slab there.
Okay.
We're just putting an outside deck there.
On top of it?
On top of it, correct. And there's a bit of an angle on that concrete slab. We're gonna make the deck square.
Gotcha.
Do just like a,
That's it, right?
that's correct.
Is there a room above the garage?
Is there room? Yes,
A room?
yes,
You're putting, you're expanding that level.
correct. So if.
What is
if
it,
we-
a bedroom or?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be a bedroom. So if we flip to the next page, you will see what is the existing residence there. It's a dilapidated house that was neglected, that went into foreclosure and was, it's called existing structure. Does everybody see that one there? So that's what's existing there. You have a question, Mr. Chairman?
No, I just say, I know exactly where it is.
Oh, you know where this one is at? Okay, so you can see the surrounding houses that I've captured there. They're generally 2 stories with garages. So if you then, so just so you understand, that is the existing structure. And if you flip to the next page, this is an architectural rendering from the corner of that Winona and...
So you're adding a whole second floor?
Correct. We're doing at a level, and you can see where that 1-car garage is at there on the left.
Are you gonna save the foundation on this?
Yes, sir.
Any walls?
Yes. All the outside exterior walls. This is not a tear down. We're going to build up from the footprint of the original building.
Because the town has a development fee ordinance on affordable housing, and if you make renovations on homes over 50%, you have to pay 1.5%.
Okay. I was unaware of that, but we'll make that calculation.
I don't know whether the building department is going to say this is a renovation or it's gut rehab. It would seem to me that it's a gut rehab. You're not gonna save much on that first floor, build a new floor on top of it.
So, so we want to, again,
You know what? We can make it a condition,
okay?
and if it's not applicable, it's not applicable.
Very good, very good. So again, so this second page here, drawing R101 gives the bird's eye perspective of what the proposed house is. Again, it's the same first floor with the garage addition and at a level. Okay? And if you then flip to page R102, this would be looking at the house from the corner at street level. So you can see that the house fits in with the character of the neighborhood. It doesn't exceed the building height codes or anything. And when they were saying the front deck in the front, it's just that little porch that I think the engineer said was over my coverage. That little 6x6 front porch there.
Are you familiar with the, Mr. Lizza, our municipal engineer's letter?
Yes, actually, I just received it this evening.
Okay, maybe we can go through it quickly.
Yes?
My copy is very faint. You have to, did you propose stormwater management?
We did not. We did not know where we were
Okay.
required to, but we're happy to comply.
Okay, so you'll review whatever you do with Mr. Lizza to make sure?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's requesting some study for dry well and soil checking, and that's
Right.
not a problem.
Okay.
Again, it's a small lot, 60 by 100. You can put a dry well system in there. It's not going to kill the project.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did review it.
Okay,
Roof
good.
leaders go into drains and that sort of thing, not a question. And it's a
Okay.
flat lot, so he's asking for grading, he may. And he's saying anything about soil disturbance, the only soil disturbance would be for the foundation for the garage.
Okay. Okay, you've got what's the word I'm looking, you're conforming, I couldn't think of that word. It's a conforming lot, 6,000 square feet, 60 by 100 is a conforming lot now.
Yes.
You're lucky. There's a lot of 40 by 100s over there.
So, okay, just quickly again, so you have your handouts. If you go to the next page, I wanted to really just show the 1-car garage that, again, we're just, we're building the house to sell it, right? But this gives the new owner, a secure off-street parking, right? With enough room for another large-sized vehicle like a truck or a van or an SUV. Again, this little porch, it was what he was counting as some of my impervious overage. I mean, I just want to put a little porch there. And then if you go to the next one, this is the size of the outside deck. We just, again, it's a concrete slab that's already there. We're just going to corner that off. It's a deck that's just 1 foot off the ground, just for a barbecue grill, couple of chairs, an umbrella. And that's it. That's really my story.
Okay, any other questions by the board?
No.
Any members of, yes, no? No? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness? Please come forward. Please state your name and address, and you have to speak into the
Take the
microphone.
microphone.
Hi, yeah, my name is Kinjal Patel and I'm owner of 42 Venona Avenue, which is next to this 42 Minnehaha Avenue. So I do not have anything to say, but like couple of questions, like when construction is going to begin and the construction vehicle will be parked on Winona Avenue or Minnehaha Avenue, just something like that, you know.
I'm assuming in terms of construction, it's gonna be a pretty standard operation.
Yes.
There'll probably be a dumpster somewhere,
Probably a dumpster in the driveway.
driveway.
I am the contractor. I have a plumber and an electrician.
So,
They generally park, there's trucks on the street. They're very clean, very respectful. Did you say your address was which one?
42 Winona,
42. You're the red house right across the street?
Red House, no,
The green one?
no,
Oh, I'm sorry. Then I'm-
the cream one, the base, yeah.
The green one?
No, cream, base.
Beige, cream.
I know most of the houses, but I.
You missed that one.
I missed that one.
Right behind you.
And you would be
Right next to
working
you.
when the ordinances, you're allowed to work.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I've been in construction for 45 years. Like the other architect was saying, it's not his first rodeo, so we're very respectful.
Great.
We want to get along with neighbors, it's always the best way to do it. They keep an eye on things and we're helping to improve the neighborhood by restoring and renovating this house that had been neglected for some time.
Anything else?
Any
Yeah,
other questions?
yeah, one more question. It's like when construction is done, right? If there is a slope of your land is like slanted, in a way that if I get water in my property, so,
Actually, I think our lot actually slopes down this way. So I think most of the water would go into like a driveway.
The engineer for the board has already said he's going to have to do certain things. He's going to have to go to them and show that water from his property doesn't go
Here,
onto
you can have a
your
copy of
property.
it.
And he's agreed that he will adhere to whatever
That's
the
pretty,
engineer
that's
says.
very comprehensive, that document.
What you could do is read it, call the engineering department up, tell them you're the adjoining property owner and what your concerns are, and they make notes so they'll think about it when they do it.
okay. I mean, yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given? I hear none, see none. You have no other witnesses? No? You don't need
I do not.
Okay, and you've said your case, there's nothing else you'd like to say?
Basically, yes. I mean, it's
You're
sort of
complete,
laid out in
yes.
the plan there. We just want to put a
All right,
garage,
it's not a,
then the driveway.
it's not an extraordinary request, by the way. So that completes the evidentiary, portion of this application. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak in opposition to this application, in support of the applicant? Please come forward. Oh, my God.
Sir.
State your name.
Yeah, but are you providing testimony against this application?
I'm just,
Your questions?
yeah, little. I'm a brother of Kinjal
For the
Patel. My
record,
name
could you
is
state and spell your
Mihir.
name?
Yeah, my name is Mihir Patel,
How
a
do you spell
brother.
your first name?
Mihir, M-I-H-I-R.
Okay, thank you. You're
So you gave us the paper and, regarding the stormwater management. And, the thing is, the neighbor next to 42 Minnehaha, they build like a wall, retaining wall made of like a soil and like wooden blocks. So whenever there is like a heavy rain, the water actually flows downside. So
Is it, what you're talking about on his property?
yeah, so
It's his wall?
no. The neighbor adjacent to his property. So,
That's not us.
And this created additional runoff?
yeah, so it hits that wall in his property. I mean, like it's close to
Well,
the fence.
I think what you need to do
Yeah.
is to contact the township engineer and present him with the problem, not his problem, but the next door neighbor's problem of what they've done. And they may have never taken out permits and anything, and if you cause, unnecessary runoff in the wrong direction, you can't do things like that, you know? You
Yeah,
can't-
that's my concern, like, it will cause his property also, it's damaging his property as well as my property,
Do
so.
you want to get involved in
You
this?
might have to.
That's something they
He's
can.
gonna have
each other.
to. I think you should call the township engineer's office.
Yeah,
Explain to them what the issue is.
Yeah.
And it's in context with this.
Okay. Because, when, like, 2-3 years before, when there was like a storm, Ida storm,
Yes.
and, it flooded all our crawl space and the basement, so.
Wow.
So it was a problem at that time, so that was my.
Yeah, we don't have the authority to do anything about that wall,
Yeah,
okay, because that's not an application before us.
so I just met this guy first time, so I just want
No,
to bring
I
up this.
understand. Hopefully, we'll deal with it, okay?
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, speaking to that, I just wanted to know is there any like, the phone number or address to?
It's on that
Right on a
page.
piece of
It's
paper.
on this paper?
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
that's what you call,
okay,
that's-
thank you.
okay.
Good.
Okay, I asked if there's any members of the public, I think we've gone through that. Do we need
No.
yeah, okay. Someone, it's not a bad application, it's improvement to the area. Doesn't, I mean, needs some variances, but I don't think it's out of whack. So someone frame a resolution?
Application 23:01, Aaron Gonzalez, 42 Minya Boulevard, Block 535, Lot 1, Zone R-4, to grant or issue C variance to construct additions contrary to section 430-35, column 4, 5, 10, and 13, and section 430-275, 10, and section 430-10I, in conformance with the engineer's report.
Second, Jaskowitz.
Any discussion, Nora, call the roll?
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Sharif.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Ira King.
Yes. Results variance is granted, we'll memorialize this in the next meeting. You'll be free to proceed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Okay,
time.
application 2277, The Rose House, 929 Knoll Road. Excuse me for 1 second. Mr. O'Neill, do you think we're gonna get to you?
You got that crazy one next.
All right. Plow through, let's go. So you're seeking a variance to legalize the shed in the gravel driveway?
For the record, state just your name.
Correct, Joe Singer, Wellesley Singer, appearing on behalf of the applicant, Rose House. As Mr. Chairman indicated, the property is located at 929 Knoll Road, lot 10, lot 497 in the township. The Rose House operates group homes for challenged individuals. I think there were 5. We've operated this for some time. The applicant, Rose House, as requested from neighbors, bought a shed, that measures,
8 by 8
shed, placed it partly on the driveway and partly on the grass at the top of the driveway. And the other issue is they added stone to round off the driveway itself on each side. That's it. We mentioned the decks, but that was pretty consistent with how we never touched the decks. The decks were there when we purchased the house. So it's just two variances for two variances.
Where is the shed? Right at the top of the driveway? I got a survey, but they didn't show it.
There's a second survey, I think there's a,
Maybe it's stuck together.
Here it is.
It's separate, it's in the
Here,
back of the
here it is.
Well, I don't get that. What is that?
there it is. It's probably-
All right, okay.
De minimis request, right? Yeah. Okay. Any questions by the board?
No.
No.
Any members of the public have any questions of this witness? I hear none, see none.
We're just gonna get compliance with the engineer's report.
Thank you. There's an engineer's report.
Yeah,
It's pretty pro forma, but I think we should read it in anyway.
You'll agree to conform to the engineer's report?
You're not sending out the
February
reports.
15th, 2023. It's
And
just the
that's what I have,
standard
February
impervious
15,
runoff.
2023. Yeah.
How does he not have a report from February? Wow, he sees stuff. He agrees.
Because I already sent a copy to Nora and to Jim.
Seems like an excessive amount for what you've done. You might want to talk to the engineer and,
See if it's really needed.
Yeah.
I'll provide stormwater management to mitigate it.
do you have any drainage problems on the property?
No.
You don't flood anybody else's property?
No.
Did we swear him in?
No.
Swear him in real quick.
You swear firm testimony about to give before the board is true, so help you God? For the record, state and spell your name.
Steve Henley, ATFLEY,
And you are,
maintenance manager for the roadhouse.
and you're here with their authorization.
I'm with
You're sworn.
You're what's in charge, huh?
Yes.
And how long has the roadhouse owned the property?
At least 6 or 7 years.
Have you ever had any flooding issues?
No,
Any drainage?
no,
Any draining on any of the neighbors?
no.
I asked that.
I would, for the little bit that you've done, this seems like an awful lot. You might want to talk to the engineer and say, look, we're not flooding anybody, there's no, okay?
So the resolution's gonna have that you have to comply unless he modifies that letter, so it's in your best interest.
It sounds like it should be, I'm speaking out of turn. Every time I say it's a no-brainer, I get kicked in the ass. That's right. Okay, so your testimony is complete then? Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, support of this application? I hear none, see none. De minimis request, somebody make a quick resolution?
Application 22:77, The Rose House, 929 Knoll Road, Block 497, Lot 10, Zone R1, recommend granting a C variance to legalize a shed and gravel driveway expansion contrary to Section 430-275X, Section 430-10I, and 430-35, Com. Senate 13, with agreeing to talk to the engineer and adhering to his requests.
Second, Kaplan.
May I try and add something to that?
Yeah.
We should include a variance for the debt question, so they don't have a problem if they want to sell the property.
Fine.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll?
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Parit.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Irakane.
Yes. Results variance is granted. Obviously, you don't have to wait to do anything because it's already done. But just clear it up with Mr. Elizabeth. Thank you.
We take our chances, Mr. Chair?
We got one more case.
We wait and see how good.
John, is this going to be difficult?
I don't know. It's really a board. The guy who got the 8 kids.
Did we ever hear this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a continuation.
You had 2 kitchens in it. It was like a.
It's a 4-story.
Yeah. And I don't know how he's taking a bunch of.
Yeah, so it's definitely
that
gonna
water.
Still on forever.
Yes.
It's 10 pounds and
10 pounds of shipping, 5 pounds.
4 stories.
Your problem is you never get finished anyway.
There's one a planner? You wanna hang him before?
So I believe Mr. Elzane's gonna be doing a fair amount of testifying this evening, so that may help me think along.
Okay.
The problem is, where can we do this?
Can we put him on a 7 o'clock meeting? How long do you need, Joe?
Not long.
Half hour?
Half hour.
40 minutes? Let's do a 7 o'clock meeting. Because then if we run over a little into the next, it's not, we already got 3 meetings next month. August, we always take one so that we can go to the beach and relax.
You got 3 meetings?
July? Yeah, we got the,
Yeah, we have a special meeting.
Oh, the special meeting
Yeah, I
for,
forgot about that.
My next meeting, I already have 3 people on the special.
Second,
July
third, and
12th
fourth
for
Wednesdays,
7
right?
PM.
Yeah.
All right. We're told July 12th for 7 o'clock would be available.
July
12.
12th, 7 o'clock, special meeting. And actually, obviously you have to pay for the special meeting.
Okay, we will carry it.
Yes.
For that special meeting, we will renotice, because it's, oh, no, I don't.
We
No, you don't have to
notice,
renotice.
just that, I don't think there's anybody here.
And
anyway.
all extensions.
Yeah, you get some extension and, okay, good. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second, someone?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we'll see you, when we see you.
Good night, fellas.
You too.
Thank you well. Right, Joe.
We went to see Westbrook.
Chairman, can I take a 1-minute break?
Yeah.
1 minute?
1 minute break, sounds good. Mr. Jaskowitz needs a potty break. Go ahead. Be careful there.
Go for me later.
It's a little weird.
Now who's the hop?
My, no,
Thank you.
I think he's in a better place.
Yeah. I thought that's,
My wife was following and Dave kept constantly giving updates, and then we ran into Barbara at one of the, not church, we ran into My granddaughter just turned 15.
Oh, boy.
Well, she turns 15 July 1.
She's going on 30 or 25?
Oh, please. So,
She's the athlete, right?
yeah, she's a good golfer. Good golfer. I look forward to playing with her.
She hit the ball farther than you.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She's so limber. You know, I'm like, kind of come through the ball and not hurt anything. Yeah, when we played,
Nothing falls off.
when we played the Knoll that one day, she outdrove me on a number of holes. She could have had 3 pars in a row, too. She just missed, she had a par, she hit number 6, which is a pedestal green, surrounded by traps. She hit the green, okay, and then she 3-putted, otherwise she would have parred that hole.
Okay.
Then she parred number 7, which is short par 4, and then she was on the fringe in 3. And that could have been a makeable. It's fun to play, really. She's such a, my granddaughter.
Really? That good?
She's very good.
How's that course you have down the beach?
It's
short, long?
It's a tough course.
How can you tell there's no topography down there?
You know, I promised it to her.
Oh, already?
Let's call the next case, which is something. 2281.
Salala El Zad, 880 Littleton Road, Block 195, Lot 39, Zone R3.
Good evening. Good evening.
So you've already been sworn, correct?
No.
But I will tell you, that's all the time. Regardless,
Could you raise your right hand?
Absolutely.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board is the true self you got?
Yes, I do.
And you're the owner of the home?
Absolutely, yes.
But weren't you sworn last time?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Nice double swan.
Really has to tell the truth now.
Remember that school, double
Here
swan?
we go.
Can you hear me right now, good?
Yes, we can hear you.
Last time actually I'm here sitting like an ignorant, really. I don't know what's going on. The meeting going on, I don't understand enough. But today here, just very much I'm coming here preparing myself as much as we can for the last discussion you have over here. And myself, I don't have no experience building house before, but my architects here, like, that he did the whole work. And sometimes when you go to a doctor and you complain about your knees, and the doctor asks you to open your mouth, you will, because he's a doctor. And that time I trust my architect to do everything for me, actually. And I did come, the last time when we are here, I talked to him, I tell him, please, do everything the board requires to do, where it makes it easy for them. When I'm here, not to challenge anybody of you, but to help, asking you to help me to build the house. That's my idea for me and for my kids. And he did a lot of change. I'm gonna give you, if you don't mind, I'm gonna give you the change he did. I'm gonna give you on all of you just this sheet to look at what he done. If that's possible, please. You can use yours. Thank you.
Sir, are you marking something that you haven't given to the secretary, or is that part of the package, or?
No, that's fine.
No, that's different.
This is something, a new document?
Yes,
So we'll mark that A1, and can you tell us what that is?
that's the change happened from the last meeting.
Okay.
All the thing that you concerned, and the architect, he did all that. And actually, if you have any question, you have to have to ask the architect to answer that questions.
Is the architect here?
Yes, he's here.
Okay, so just for the record, A1 is a letter dated May 24th, 2023, from a Joffrey L. Gogan, architect.
So we should have architect explain to us.
Yes, yes, he will do that, yes. Yes, I'm building this house actually for my kids, for my family.
That's old.
I have 6 kids, and all of us, we live in, right now, we live really in a very bad
These are my
condition. We live in 3 bedrooms, all of us right now. It's really very difficult for us. What we're asking you here today, just to help us, just to improve this house, we can build it. I'm not really the one to spend a lot of time talking to you, because I see here, one person taking all your time. I don't really want wasting your time, but I can answer any question or any concern that anybody can answer me.
So I have a question, the only variance that's remaining is the existing lot size, there's no proposed variance?
That's correct, sir. Only that, and we did, actually, they recommended for us to ask the neighbor, if anybody want to sell, there is, or anybody can buy it, or we did send a letter actually to DOT, and no response. That's mean no one gonna buy or sell. The only concern right now is the lot size.
Did you guys say you eliminated all the variances and just left
Well,
one?
wait, you got
Yes.
the, you
Is
got
that
the,
true?
you got the 3-story versus 2.5 story.
It's not there.
That remains.
How come? It's just because he eliminated right now. He's telling me that.
Slow down, I
everything.
can't, I'm not following you.
Okay,
You have to talk slower,
absolutely.
please.
Sure, thank you.
You still have a 3-story building?
Did you do anything with the height?
No, there is nothing wrong with the height.
That's not for you to decide.
Yeah, we should.
We always had the township determined that the garage level and the base, what you call a basement, and the bedrooms and the bathrooms, that's the story, then you have 2 more stories. So you had a 3-story versus 2.5 stories.
Okay, I look at it.
That one still remains.
I look at
And
it,
the lot size. I just want to,
I look at it as 2.5. This is just a finished basement with the workout. That's about it.
That's the same thing we talked about last time, I think, right? Isn't that the same?
well,
Yeah, we did, there is recreation room, which is open, it's like the
the
open space.
the
there's
last
nothing
plan I have from Mr. Grogan is dated, what is it dated?
I don't know why.
The last plan I have from Mr. Grogan is revised 5/7/2023, showing the garage, in the basement, ground basement level, the garage, rec room, bathrooms, bedrooms. That's the last plan, correct?
That's correct.
So why isn't that historic?
It's not, the recreation room is not there anymore, just make it open space.
No bedrooms? So
It
he's
says-
saying the use,
It says recreation room
Huh?
right on it.
You wanna answer that?
Yeah, let him,
Okay. He can answer that, architects, he can
It
answer
doesn't
that
make
for you.
any difference what you call it. It's a floor. You can label it whatever the hell you want. I'm sorry. You can label it whatever you want, but it's still a floor.
What make it not floor? What is required that for me right now, we can eliminate?
You'd have to eliminate it.
Eliminate what?
It wouldn't be excavated. Right now, you've got a full excavated area. Most of it is out of the ground, based on the pictures that were provided. I guess, Mr. Grover, you made those?
Yes, I'd like to say something about it.
And Mr. Groves, for the record, you've already been sworn, and you're qualified, you're still qualified, all your licenses are full force.
Yes. Our intention was to have a compliant 2.5-story with a full walkout basement. It is partially finished, and we counseled with Morgan Engineering about the definition of basement, the ordinance definition of basement, and we had them do the calculation, which the ordinance requires, and basically you take the full perimeter.
I hear what you did, but the zoning officer said it's the floor. That's the authority that the board operates on. I went back, I heard your testimony, I went back through the ordinance myself, and I support that conclusion. So Morgan Engineering is not the zoning officer for Parsippany-Troy Hills.
Nor did they give testimony.
Well, I'm just saying that we added some notes on this latest iteration. It is still the same calculation, but if the board doesn't agree with that and wants to call it a story for the purpose of the application, I guess you could do that. We would have to keep that variance in, but, our intention, it is a pretty much a fully,
You can just explain it, yeah, it's a walkout, it's a full excavated, but you only got a little bit of the front is looking like a 2-story, based on your picture, and all the rest of it is out of the ground, more or less.
right, it's basically a
I mean, we're wasting time.
walkout drive-out
Yeah.
basement.
and this is where we left it last time, I thought.
Yeah.
So what changed?
Well, we did change quite a bit. I can go through.
No, but, so this is what happened last time.
They got
We
rid of the kitchen.
Right, and we went through in circles. John, Mr. Chadwick just said that it's on 3 sides at least, they're all exposed, okay? The zoning officer came out and said it's a 3-story. You need to address that one issue, and we don't seem to be addressing it. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, you can seek a variance, or and show why he is seeking a variance.
Right, but he's arguing that it's not.
Well, I think we abandoned that.
Oh, did we abandon that?
Maybe I misunderstood you, but.
I hope you're right.
I mean, it's definitely an area that somebody could have a different opinion on. And our intention was not to create a story. And so we followed the ordinance and tried to make sure that we were filling enough around the front and the sides too.
Well, your pictures clearly show the back is totally exposed, the sides are exposed, the front is the only one that is not.
Right, but the exposure for example, this is the right, this is
You
the
know what?
left.
Well, I'm wasting the board's time and Shirley on discussing this, because it isn't. The zoning officer said it's a story.
Excuse me, please.
I'm not trying to be hard-headed about it.
What?
Change your
what-
grading, do whatever.
That what the board required for me to do right now, because I need to
Eliminate
the
that
house.
bottom floor.
How am I gonna eliminate that? It's a walking house
You
floor.
just asked us what we require. We just told you eliminate the bottom floor,
How
and now
we gonna
you're
eliminate
countering that.
How we gonna eliminate that? But it's not possible.
Don't have a three-story building.
This is
Have a
not the
two-story.
That is the basement according to, I asked him to do that. I sent it to the,
But the
Morgan
zone-
Engineering, the people who, they
Casey?
define.
You wanna
Yeah,
try?
I want to talk about this.
Sure.
My townhouse,
Yeah,
and you are very familiar with it,
yes,
it's totally open in the back.
yeah.
On the two side, I mean, one side is another house, right? It's a townhouse, but 3/4 of the side is above the ground, only front is in the ground. And my townhouse is not 4-story because it's it's a basement, walkout basement, right? And then I have a first floor and a second floor, similar to this. So that's why I'm a little bit confused as to why we are calling this a 4-story, where my townhouse is almost similar to what you have, and you are familiar with that.
It's a three-story.
Thank you, yeah, thank you very much. Excuse me
But
for a
it's
second.
similar to that.
Hold on.
The basement,
Hold on.
I'm talking about the basement. My basement is open only it's fully in the ground in the front.
No, I'm very familiar with it.
So that's why I'm surprised that, even last time we made the comment, I was wondering that why we are calling this, this is a basement. Walkout basement is like that, it's
Yes,
open in the back.
Yours is, one side is, the neighbor wall is there. That is covered.
No, but because I'm in a townhouse, but
Yeah.
I-
And front one is almost covered.
no. Let me tell you, I was on a Meadow Bluff Road, where also one side was in the ground, and I had two-car garage there, and it's all open in the back, in the side.
But
That was a basement.
Did you have like bedrooms and kitchen in the basement?
He's eliminating that.
No, they were still.
No, you still have a bedroom and kitchen?
No,
No kitchen, bedroom.
no kitchen.
Bedroom.
No kitchen, yeah, there is bedroom.
Bedroom is.
You know what?
People
I eliminate,
put-
look at it now, here, this point, listen, I'm gonna eliminate the bedrooms. I wanna finish this tonight, otherwise I'm not coming. I'm gonna eliminate the bedrooms, this
No, it was never.
Open floor?
open floor, one, two, excuse me. What's your name, I'm sorry, Jesse?
Sir, this is not making
No.
a deal.
I'm not making deal, sir. I say, I'm not making, get the real, and frustrate it real, I come here over here, just everybody, just let me talk, please.
Hello,
Thank
sir.
you.
Hello.
Yes.
With all due respect. just
That's
calm
not your
down.
meeting.
Calm down.
What's going on?
One thing.
Calm down.
Are you a comedian in real life?
Wait, me.
I feel like if I can just, if I,
Listen, let me mention something very important. You know what, right now? I live in 337 Bear Road. It's open.
Talk to everybody else, just not
It's
me.
open, walkout basement. And the back is open, and the front is open. Very much similar to what I have, what I live right now. 337 Bear Road. That's my house where I live right. And where I live, there is a bathroom in the basement. Where I live, there's a room in the basement.
Careful.
so we'd be there tomorrow.
You might want to stop there.
Okay.
As long as you don't have a kitchen, that's what,
Kitchen and
everybody has.
bedrooms.
I think where we get,
Let's be honest. If he says, I'm not gonna put a bedroom in there, and then after this is all done, hires a contractor, comes in, no,
But at least,
builds the walls and makes them.
No, but-
Never the twain.
I think our hang-up last meeting was the fact that the attic was also had rooms in it, so that created the extra floor.
Yeah, the real issue here is,
An open-air stairway.
Yeah.
That was where we got the hang-up last time, to make it another floor.
the story of floors are tied to the grading.
Okay.
And what they've got is this building is 3/4 out of the ground, the front is closed. So it becomes a story. If they adjust the grading, he can put whatever he wants down there. He can't put a kitchen, but he's gotta get the grading up the sides of these buildings.
Can that be done?
Sure. Why not? How much dirt are you gonna take off this property?
Well,
It's written on the plan, why don't you just read it to the board?
I think it's important to remember that this is a steep slope site. We're
Right.
coming from 202 down the hill, you didn't see the topo here. It's a difficult site to build on, so if we were to, for example, try to eliminate a basement and set the whole building down, you would be, at the grade in the front, you would be at the second floor level, essentially. So, we really need that full foundation to bring the 2 stories that you're gonna see from the street up high enough to see it.
How much dirt are you gonna take off the property? It's written on there, one of the charts.
There is a cut and fill calculation here, but I believe it's mostly cut and fill, and there's not a whole lot being removed.
There's a calculation there.
There is a calculation on the.
It's about 30,000 cubic yards.
30,000 cubic yards?
No.
That sounds unbelievable. It'd be like taking the whole property away.
No, it's, the area where the house is going is already about that level. That's about where the slab in the basement is. So we're not digging out a lot to create the basement. It's already hollow there where the hill goes down.
So can't you fill dirt around the
And
sides?
we are filling, around, up against the front.
If you just ran it back further along the sides of the building, then you'd no longer have, you'd be back to the definition where it's not a story, it's a basement.
Right.
He's giving you an easy answer.
You've got the cubic
problem is,
volume.
it drops off toward this back corner. We're already putting a short retaining wall and filling, and doing the best we can on that side.
Well, you could eliminate those windows and build it up.
And the back, we have to drive on the one side, we have the garage on the one side.
Yeah.
That's the back.
So that's the right side of
That's
the house.
exposed side, the rest of them you can cover over. And then, if we get out of this, I mean, it was just, it seems like we're.
I'd like to read the definition of basement from the ordinance, if I think that might be helpful.
You did not advertise for an interpretation. You advertised for both variances. You can't go back and ask for an interpretation now. Mr. King, why don't you tell me to stop playing lawyer?
Yeah,
I don't know that it's interpretation, it's a.
Well, you're asking the board to do an interpretation, you're gonna read an ordinance and try to get an interpretation from the board. The zoning officer already has determined that this is a story based upon exactly what our professional, planner has told you. All you gotta do to make it not a story is bring more dirt to the sides and get that calculation up for coverage, and there's no problem.
Can we agree that, let's skip the basement question. What about the attic question? Have we agreed that that's not a story anymore?
No, it's not a story.
You took the stairs out, no living.
It's a pull down.
Pull down the storage and
They changed
So
that.
now we're dealing with 3 stories instead of 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look that bad, and I know where the property is, and I know how that right by the road that goes by Troy Hills Village, and,
All right, so
how far is the front of that house gonna be to the street?
It's way back.
Yeah, I don't even, this, it's gotta be what, 40, 50 feet?
61.4 from the property line,
50,
but the property line is set way back
And it-
from the curb.
Aren't there trees in front of the property?
Yes.
And you're gonna leave the trees there?
Absolutely, and there is a forest actually, there is a property adjacent to me, it's the belong to, DOT. There is nothing on.
This whole front, this whole
clear
front area on
basically
each
the
side
whole
of the driveway has heavy trees.
Yeah.
And they're gonna stay.
He says they're gonna stay.
Well, you showing a grading right down the middle of the property from Littleton Road. Over on the sides, I guess you're gonna leave something. Yeah. It's ready.
do we need to get a new letter of interpretation based upon the new plans?
No. Well, you mean interpretation DEP?
No, from the zoning officer. Do we know what?
No, they haven't changed the footprint at all, they haven't changed the driveway. It was all the inside they did.
I thought they said they removed certain variances.
We did change the driveway, and we eliminated some walks, and we reduced the coverage.
Okay. You never had a variance on the coverage anyway, did you?
I'm sorry?
You didn't have variance?
Well, one was needed
Yes,
according
we
to
did.
this.
Originally, we were,
Oh, 20, now you're under it.
Now we're under 30.
You're under 30.
Okay, yeah, 49,
Well, we reduced the
you
deck,
got there, you got there.
and we, made all those,
Okay.
changes.
And the building height is,
Building coverage is the same?
Building coverage was reduced also. We had a little bit of a variance before, but we've eliminated that.
So what's your building coverage now?
Building coverage proposed is, 14.9.
So that's not.
This is the old one.
all right, the zone requirements that are shown on your plan, or not your plan, this is Morgan's plan, does reflect all the changes you described in your letter.
Yes.
But you couldn't tell, I wasn't sure, I wasn't. All right,
There
so
were
that-
slight changes, but it made a big difference.
Okay, the only correction would be that you are still required 2.5 stories, 3 stories proposed. We can eliminate that by slight regrading and bringing some dirt along the sides of the house.
Are you okay with that?
That would be feasible. We could increase the height of the grades on the front and the left side.
You only have to get them back. It's the cubic volume that is above the finished grade. And Parsippany, for some unknown reason, requires you to measure the grades, was it 6 feet off the wall or something like that? I don't know why it's
Height it is, yes.
Yeah, you can do it. So you're down to an undersized lot, which you have no available. Did the state ever get back to you?
No.
They don't respond.
You'd think they'd want to get rid of that piece.
Yeah, it's a really big lot, they wish they sell it.
Who wants it? The state owns a whole great big lot right next to it. When they rammed the ramp through there and moved Littleton Road around, they had to buy a pretty good sized piece.
So Johnny, you saying if he just puts some dirt around the side?
He'll make it a basement.
Okay, so you understand that? You're good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. No, so you're good with that? What else do we need to do?
Nothing.
Okay,
I'm looking at the
He
wrong
took,
property.
he took the stairway out of the attic.
right, so that's not a
That's
floor.
gone.
Yep,
That's gone.
okay,
And he's got the kitchen out of the basement.
there we go. Chairman,
Yes,
he says he'll put the dirt in, and then John says he'll be happy.
So the only other thing is that driveway where you connect to Littleton Road, you gotta put a curb return on there someplace. You can't have that 90-degree connection. The driveway,
Yeah, there's, you mean, more of a tapered curve.
you need some curb return there, I mean,
It is the existing curve cut, where it drops down, there was a driveway out there for many years, so we're just gonna keep that exact same. We didn't want to disturb it.
okay,
you know what, it's a tough piece of property, and there hasn't been a house on that property in probably 10, 15 years at least, maybe longer. Because when they redid that stretch of road, they pretty much took the frontage off of that property, and how it remains on, Anyway, is there any other questions by the board?
Is this variance gone too for yards and courts?
Well, should we have a, site plan done, sent to the, zoning officer, she can review it for compliance, it's gonna eliminate a number of these requested, variances, and the only one, actually, there's only probably gonna be potentially one, which is the, lot, which is easy.
We've eliminated the basement?
Yeah, if he adds the dirt, he eliminates the
Yeah,
basement.
he's gotta put that in the plan, and that's the plan that gets accepted by the,
Morgan's gotta draw that
Yeah.
plan.
you understand?
Yeah, we reduced the deck size to eliminate the yards and court.
You put that all in?
So can we give them, can we vote on the one variance tonight and get a resolution? And then
Subject to the,
subject to them
providing the appropriate.
complying and getting the zoning officer to
Yeah,
sign
we're
off.
writing a revised plan to be
This way they
reviewed by the
don't,
zoning office.
this way, most likely, they don't have to come back.
So the only one would be the building coverage, correct? Impervious.
Size of the lot.
No coverages needed.
No,
Size of the lot.
Size of the lot.
this is now 29.9.
Okay.
It's now 14.9.
So it's just a
And I'm
maximum,
guessing this one's gone
it's just a
too.
lot area.
I think you could make it simpler than this. You just have a revised, development plan showing grading along the sides of the building. We don't have to do anything else.
And that would
You
eliminate.
grant the lot size and we're done.
Any other questions by the board? Any members of the public have any questions of these witnesses on the testimony given this evening? I hear none and see none. We're all in agreement. Testimony is complete. We know what we're gonna do. We're gonna work together to get this house built. And at that, I'm gonna ask if there are any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to the application. In support of the application, I hear and see none. I don't know why Mr. Cahill and my other good friend in the back is, kind of, nothing on TV tonight, guys, or what?
No, everything's repeat.
Anyway,
Game show.
do we need to go into conference?
No.
No. Okay, someone, it's a difficult property. I think the house is gonna be pretty decent. We've negotiated a number of items, and, based on the de minimis request, Mr. Jaskowitz, give us a resolution.
Application 22:81, Salah El Zayn, 880 Littleton Road, Block 195, Lot 39, Zone R3. Recommend granting a C variance to construct a three-story, single-family dwelling with attached garage, covered porch, deck, and stairs, and retaining walls contrary to section. Are any of these true?
Most have been eliminated.
So I'll just put it in?
Yep.
All right, section 430-35, columns 1, 10, 11, 13, and section 430-10I, with adding the dirt around the house, and with what do we need from them, a grading plan?
Yes.
And with the updated grading plan?
That's it.
That's it.
Well, they have to go back to the zoning officer.
To be reviewed by the zoning officer.
To be reviewed and approved by the zoning officer.
Yes, go back.
And there's removal, it's just pull downstairs.
Yes, which is the updates that he gave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second ready.
any discussion? Nora, call the roll?
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yep.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Irakian.
Result of the variance is granted. So we will memorialize this at our next meeting, hopefully,
Yes,
and,
I'm planning on them getting the plans and everything.
So you gotta get that plan to them so they could,
Is there a motion to?
well, okay.
is it motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Good night, everybody.
You are fired
Say goodnight.
Exactly.
You are fired tonight.
Thank you.
What's on TV you want to get home to?
Nothing.
Is anybody Yankee game to watch?
No Yanks.
I know, that's
No basketball.
Philadelphia, you could.
Tonight, yeah, tonight.